Welcome to Dearly Not So Departed podcast. I am Janet, the host, and tonight I have a lovely guest that I'm super excited about talking with. Her name is Deb, and she's here to share about her experience with her daughter and her adult daughter that made her transition. And so, Deb, thank you. I want to thank you so much for taking time to be on the podcast and to talk with me. And I'm going to turn it over to you. Tell me about your daughter.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here. I had a daughter, Jenn, and she passed away a year and a half ago. She was 44 years old. And I believe like the last 3 years of her life in physical form, she was building memories for us to share. I can look back at it now in perspective and see, oh, that's why that happened. That's why this happened. That's why that happened. And it was like she created it, this journey. Yeah. We were together.
Isn't that beautiful? It's like the solutions appeared before the issue ever arose.
Yes.
It's like spiritual breadcrumbs is the way I like to look at it.
Yes. And like at the time, I didn't know it. But now, since I look back 3 years past after her passing, I'm saying, oh my God, we had this memory. And she was creating memories, like we went away together and we were on the beach and we just went places and we were going to have a business together and we were having all these plans and we were really into it, and she was very smart into real estate. And she said, "Ma, we're going to start a company." And I'm like, "All right, let's do that." We had all these plans, and she went through some really hard times the last couple of years, and I was able to spend about 4 months, a couple of years before she passed, to help her get over a divorce situation and a very hard time. And she was very, very sick then, I think emotionally and for a lot of reasons. And I got her through that year, she was able to come through it. And then the following year, she got worse. So for some unknown reason, I retired at the age of 63 in January 2021. Never expected to. It was kind of like showing me the door out, and I'm glad I took it, because had I not, I wouldn't have been able to be with my daughter the last 6 weeks of her life in August. So I'm like, thank you, God, this happened for a reason.
Absolutely.
I was there.
Always. It always does.
I'm so grateful, but now that she's gone is when I'm seeing the full picture, but she's not gone is what
Right.
I feel.
Right.
I meditate every day. And when I meditate is when I connect. And
Okay.
I really have a strong connection with her, with infinite intelligence, with everything that, my whole life. I'm so blessed with everything in my life. And
Yes.
she showed me the way.
Yes.
I feel comforted by her.
Yes, exactly. And so after she made her transition, she changed forms. Her energy lives on infinitely. Our energy doesn't go away. And I just love that you were able. Now, were you meditating before she made her transition?
Yes, I was. I had started about like 3 years prior, and I've got to tell you, she changed my life when she handed me the book, The Secret.
Okay.
And I read The Secret, and it made me wanting more and more. And that's the time we were talking about starting the business. And I went on YouTube searching, and lo and behold, Abraham-Hicks. And
Yes.
I just read everything that they wrote. I couldn't get enough of it. I went to a seminar, I got hooked, and I'm like, I'm using those teachings to have joy in my life today.
Absolutely.
And it was funny because at the time I was writing a book about the law of attraction when my daughter was alive, and I was writing about it, and I was excited about it, and we talk about it, and the thing is the book keeps changing. Like now that my daughter passed, it's about, well, I can do this without my daughter. I got to tell other people that they can do it too. I wake up and she's with me.
Yes,
she's not around. She's nowhere else. She's with me.
she's writing the book with you and
Oh, she
through you.
is. I got to
And
tell you, she created the atmosphere by which I could write this book. It's incredible because when she passed, she lived in South Carolina. I'm in Massachusetts, and I was
okay,
going to live there with her. And I said, Jen, I'm really sorry, but I don't feel it. I can't stay here. I'm a New England girl. So the plan was I was to go to Massachusetts, get a condo with 2 bedrooms, and when she came to visit, she would stay with me. I go, perfect. Well, she provided the means after she passed for me to come back home and get that condo and got a car and blessed me with a camper at Salisbury Beach, Massachusetts, with every summer I can go stay. And I felt she showed me the way to all these things. And I even heard her voice one day. She said, "Welcome home, Mom." And I knew it.
wow,
She's with me every day, but she created the connection while she was alive, I felt. She was starting
absolutely.
to.
I'm feeling her energy very strongly right now.
Yeah, she's in the sun rays. Oh,
She's very, yeah, she's here with us right now. So she's thrilled. I don't know if you feel this, but she's thrilled that we're having this conversation. And to me, that's the beauty of, while we can't bring them back, um, we can honor them and connect with them where they are, and it brings such great comfort and joy and soothing, and they're always right there.
yes.
Tell me about some experiences where she's shown up for you. Some more experiences about how you mentioned the sun and how
Oh,
you feel her presence in the sun.
right. I have a beautiful condo in Wilbraham, Massachusetts, and it has a deck and it overlooks woods, and I can see the sunset, and I can see the sunrise, and it's beautiful. It's where my daughter would have wanted to live. And I said, she led me right here, man. Every afternoon I can sit on my couch at 3 p.m. And when I open the blinds to my windows, the sun just comes in and it comes into my home. And you could see the rays and it's beaming on me. I could feel it one day on my shoulder, just warmth on my shoulder. And I looked over and sure enough, that was the sunrise. And every time I see the sun, I call the sun Jen. And all my friends call the sun, "Hey, Jen's out today." And I go, yes, that's
I,
how we feel her.
I love that. I love that, but it's, and the other thing is we get to define, that is up to us as individuals to define that connection and to
Yeah.
give it meaning for each of us. There's no right or wrong way, or,
Yes.
And you certainly don't need, Esther and Abraham-Hicks to communicate, or any other kind of medium. There are some that aren't in the place, to make that connection, but this connection is available and on all the time. The key that I found is you have to be open, you have to be in receptive mode, and
Yeah. Yes.
meditation certainly helps.
I did a lot of that, a lot when she passed. And I got to say, the saddest I was ever was the night of her funeral. And I had that despair and that feeling
Yeah,
of, loss. And it was intense. It was so intense. It's like, I don't even want to remember it anymore because I know there's so much better now. And
yes,
I could feel her relief. When she transitioned, her physical body was broken.
yeah,
That was just a vehicle for her. And now
right.
she transitioned and we're non-physical and she's non-physical. And now she's moving on in me and through me. And I can see it and feel it every day. Every day
Isn't
I can see
that just brings me so much joy and comfort knowing that relationships are eternal.
it.
And
Yes.
so she sounds like she was her demeanor when she was physical, that she was very um, positive and upbeat and fun, had a playful
Yeah.
spirit. Do you find that she's the same way now?
She's even more so because there's no more worry, there's no more
Right,
pain, there's no more
right.
sadness. It's nothing but happiness. And that makes me rejoice for her because I know she's no longer in that physical pain that she was in. I know where she is now. She's free,
Right.
and she's like, come on, Ma, we're good. I always hear her, Ma, we got this. We got this. It's like she's my cheerleader every day. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I love that you actually hear her voice. I don't hear the voices. I hear it's more like a whisper. I don't know, but I know it's you just know, it's them.
Oh, I do. It's a knowing. That's what it is. The knowing. It's
it's a knowing, but what a blessing that she gave you the book, The Secret, and you found these teachings before she made her transition.
I think if there was a reason why, was to prepare me for her departure.
Right.
I really feel that now, and I'm so grateful that I was shown that option, because I was working on myself as a better human being the last 3 years before Jenn died. I had changed. I retired. I got out of my job that was so negative. I had to get rid of toxicity in my life. I had to walk away from a relationship. And when I came back from South Carolina, that's why I had to find a place to live. Therefore, the condo. I mean, everything. And every morning I wake up, I feel like she's here, because we used to live together in Hilton Head, South Carolina, in her condo. And every day we'd wake up and we'd do our things. And you know what I mean? We were together, but we did our own things. And I just feel that every day. I feel it every day.
Right. To me, there's nothing more comforting than their presence. And I have, so many. I mean, my husband, my first grandson, my uncle, my grandparents, my father, my friends, a boyfriend. I mean, other friends. I have been following the teachings of Abraham-Hicks since 2006. So it's been 15, 16, we're rolling up on 17 years. And so I made some very dear friends through Abraham-Hicks, and they've since made their transition, and I feel their presence often, and it's so comforting to me. And the beautiful thing is when we're on the other side, we don't have all the worldly stuff. There's nothing but pure, unconditional love. It's just, I like to call it liquid love,
Yes.
And they beam that on us all day, every day, and they're always right there. All we have to do, they're right there with us. They're our guiding angels, so to speak, not guardian, but guiding. And, we just, do you ever, because for me, I've gotten all kinds of signs like lights may flicker, or
that was the thing.
Different stuff, like, different, I mean, it's something that's physical. I have easy buttons that I bought a few years ago. And that came from, one of the Abraham-Hicks recordings.
I remember it.
The easy buttons. And then in 2019, I went to Staples one day and bought an easy button, because I was working a temp job and they had an easy button. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go get one of those. And so I bought it, and then I went back. I made several trips back and bought some for various Abraham-Hicks friends, and I shipped them all over the country, Abraham-Hicks easy buttons, because it was so fun. But my easy button will go off just by itself. It'll be totally quiet, and I'll hear, that was easy.
Yes. Oh, I see cardinals. We talk about cardinals a lot when she was alive. And it was beautiful. I looked outside one day, and in the snow, there was a bunch of birds playing, like little birds. And out of the blue, there was a red cardinal. And you just know, that's it. That's them. Feeling. Yeah, it's a feeling. It's like one day I was sitting on my couch. Of course, the sun's coming in, and all of a sudden I felt this extreme warmth come around my heart. And I knew it was her presence. It was so much that I was overcome with tears, because it was just, it felt so emotional, but then so grateful to be able to experience it,
Exactly. And I feel those experiences, to me, they're like a hug from non-physical, because while they can't hug us physically, and I've had experiences where, someone will say something to me, and I'll know that came from, that was guided, because they can, they're not just limited to us. They're worldwide.
Yeah.
For lack of a better, because they're energy, they're non-physical energy. And I love this, and it just brings me, and it sounds like you have great supportive friends around you that
funny you should say that. I lost my entire family. The last time I've seen them was at my daughter's funeral, so I was alone for this whole experience. Okay. And but I had to be, for some reason I was being told, you got to do this on your own. Yeah. And as I went through it, I mean, I came back and I lived with a friend for a month, and I'm like, no, this isn't right. I lived in a hotel for a month by myself because I knew I had to be alone. I don't know why. And I think I was a part of a healing process, maybe, or, and that's when I found the place to live, and I moved on from there. But it was all a journey, and it was waking me up in some aspect. And I'm not sure what happened, but boy, a lot happened. And I felt like she was with me every step of the way.
Right, right. But you just weren't surrounded by physical beings.
Exactly.
And that's been my experience too, is that people, especially, 15, my husband made his transition in December of 2007, and he, committed suicide, which Abraham-Hicks says all death is suicide. So, and I knew, the weird thing about it was, well, I was obviously in shock when I found him, but so I was just kind of numb. I think I just, all my emotions, I just kind of shut down because it was such a big thing. But, and it wasn't my choice for him, it was his choice. But a few hours later, once I had gone through the whole process of calling the police and putting the coroner there and going through all of that, a few hours later, I felt relief for him. And, because how selfish, he had a lot of physical problems, and he couldn't find his joy here. And so he made a decision. And so I felt relief that he, made his own decision to take care of himself, even though, there were many around him, including me, that wouldn't have had chosen that for him. But it was his choice. And I remember sitting there on my couch thinking, good for you, good for you. But, that is only because I had found the teachings of Abraham like about 18 months earlier.
Yeah. I mean, there were times when the meditations and the practice, and I'm like, I got to say, maybe I can count on one hand the amount of times I felt discouraged. And I'm like, no. It's like every time that I wake up in gratitude and joy, I'm honoring my daughter. Not only honoring, I'm honoring her, and I'm showing her that I'm going to be the best me that I can be. And, I'm here. And I have now over 25 friends since I've made just in that year and a half. I met them at the gym. I've met them. Unbelievable, like-minded people, and they're just. I
love it.
Yeah. And it's like God gifted me with all these things and ways of expressing them. And, I'm just so grateful for everything to have her in my heart,
It's no accident, but we are not. I always like to say, look at a small child, and because we are trained into thinking to be fearful of death, and so that's the other part of why I'm doing what I'm doing and sharing these stories, because I want people to understand that just changing forms. It's
Yeah.
you don't have to subscribe, but like a small child, a toddler, think of, they don't have it, they're clueless. And of course we know that they are still connected to source.
Yeah.
Very, very strongly. It kind of gets trained out of them the older they get. So, we don't have to adopt. We get to choose at any time how we feel about any situation. We get to assign whatever meaning it is, and we don't have to listen to the outside influences.
No, since Abraham, I am not afraid to die at all. And I have a new understanding about it. And I mean, this place is great here. I'm going to make the best of it and, put my mark on the world and then move on. But I'm not afraid, not to move on with fear. Yeah, no fear.
Doesn't that feel good?
Yeah.
To let that fear go, because we're trained to be fearful of it.
Yeah, and worry, worry and all those emotions, they're just no.
Right. It was never meant to be that way. That is a religious and societal thing that, it's the conditioning. It's, fear controls people. So and fear and joy can't exist simultaneously.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They can't, and that was what really spoke to me about Abraham-Hicks is, they said, and I knew this, and just to get happy. Joy is
the key.
any way you can, whatever that may, whatever that looks like for you. And there's no right or wrong way to do any of this. You have to get in touch with yourself and see how it feels. You kind of have to try it on for size. And I'm talking about the feelings and the emotions of it. And
yeah, I did. I was doing that the other day. Sometimes you always get in the down in the dumps feeling. I mean, we all do. And I always say to myself, it's only temporary. And this too shall pass. And I know tomorrow I'm going to have a better day. And then meditate on it or ask for clarity or something. And it just uplifts. It's like, you don't have to feel like that. Choose joy. Always choose the better feeling thought. It makes sense, So I just wish people would know. Yeah. Yeah. I'm so blessed to know what I know.
Exactly. And that's the way I feel. It's like, wow, we get to know this. And by talking about it, in a public worldwide forum, those that are seeking this information will find it. And
yeah. Well, that's what happened. Right? Yeah, exactly.
And that's my highest desire, that it will bring comfort and relief and soothing to those who are looking for this information and to know, because back in 2007, when we didn't have YouTube and we didn't have all the YouTube. So there were quite a few years where, the only thing I really had access to were the recordings on CD that I would get when I went to Abraham-Hicks workshops, and the books, which I read vehemently. I mean, every time a new book came, because they were putting out quite a bit of books then. And so every time I got a book, I would read the book and,
I couldn't get enough of it. Yeah, it was definitely.
No, I was like a sponge, and so I knew it was right for me.
Yeah.
And it's not right for everyone. And that's okay. That's okay. But it's what brought me so much understanding about myself, about others, about life. And so many things I began to understand things on a deeper level.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Oh, definitely. It's like sometimes I'm just speechless. It's like, I'm just in such a good place, and I couldn't ask for anything better, and it only gets better. And, I'm just grateful. I just wake up grateful.
And once you have gone through something like this, you you just, it changes who you are. You can't.
It does.
Abraham always says you can't go back. In fact, when I was in the hot seat in April of 2008, that's what they told me. They said you can't go back. You know, you can't go. You can't go back. And I was, and thank goodness, you know, I knew about the teachings of Abraham when my husband made his transition, because I really do believe that that was, you know, again, like you were talking about with Jenn, it was like the solutions were being put in place before the situation happened. And so I could understand, but, you know, it was strange because I could feel the vibe of other people who, and I could feel the judgment, which obviously is a reflection of me judging me. But, you know, and my mother even said one time that I think she told me I needed Jesus or something, which I just had to crack up and just kind of go.
Oh, that my other daughter thinks I'm in a cult, so you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I choose spirituality.
Well, my brother went to the workshop about 5 months after my husband's transition in April of 2008. We flew down to San Antonio, and I brought my baby brother with me. And then after that, we were flying to Houston to go visit our other brother. And it was quite interesting because, you know, my brother, he's not, and still to this day, you know, but he does get some of this stuff. And that's what I want to say, because like when our mother made her transition, she had a massive stroke in 2015, and I was living in another state. So you know, and I was okay with that. I had no desire to be there. You know, they were all there and around her, but she still was present with me, you know, in Colorado where I lived at the time. And it was wild because this music, it comes to me, a lot of messages come to me through music. And what was it? The song, for my baby brother, the song that kept coming to him was Lean on Me. And the song that kept coming to me, which I've never had a day like that since, the song that kept coming to me was Louis Armstrong, What a Wonderful World.
Oh, yeah, that's beautiful.
And so he and I talked, and that was, you know, the funeral home did a video of her, and those were the two songs that we picked.
Oh, that was nice. Yeah.
And we both felt, even though, like I say, he doesn't share my beliefs about Abraham-Hicks, but he does, you know, it doesn't matter whether you share these beliefs or not. It's universal. It's universal.
Right. Yeah.
And so it was a beautiful thing because, and then the other funny part of that is our father had made his transition back in 1994. So, you know, that was what, 21 years later. And so we had to pick out like a little handout at the funeral home. And lo and behold, when I got back home to Colorado, I was going through a box of stuff, and we picked out the same flyer with the same verse for our mother. So I was just like, oh my gosh, you know. And so, but these things aren't coincidences. These things are gifts, divine gifts that uplift us and support us and let us know that they're still here with us.
Oh gosh, absolutely. I mean, even more so because she didn't live in the same state as me, and we talk on the phone. But I got to tell you, I feel her every day now. It's like we're waking up together and go to bed, and you know, she's just always with me.
Well, and it's a comfort. That's the beauty of it. When they make their transition and they go back to pure positive energy, they are more present with us than they ever were when they were physical. Because you know, there's no, there's just, like you said, there's no worldly stuff to get in the way. You know, they leave all of that behind. Any kind of worries or troubles or anger or resentment or illness, all of it. It just,
But I could feel the confusion in her brain. I could feel like the frustration and how it was just spinning nonstop. I could feel that. Like it was just so much for her but
yeah,
she's strong. She was so independent. She's so strong. She got up and tried every day when she didn't even feel good. And that's what made me do it after she left. I said, I'm going to do it because she can do it. And
right.
she inspires me every day to do my best for her,
Exactly.
just
Exactly.
put
And
your
that's,
energy and your pain into that, and try.
yes.
I know it's easier said than done, but I was so blessed that I was be able to do it. And now I know it can be done. I encourage others to try it because, I just found a new love for my daughter in a different
Right.
way.
And I love that you share that with the others, Deb, and you are encouraging them to connect where, their loved ones are now instead of
Right.
focusing. And that's what, that's exactly what Abraham-Hicks told me, as I said, in the hot seat, back in, whatever it was, in 2008, however many years ago, it was 15 years ago. But that's what they told me. They said, there's a version of him in your vortex. And of course, but that transformed me. But the other question that I had for them was about the judgment I felt from others because I wasn't the typical grieving widow. Because
oh God, no, not guilty.
I knew about the law of attraction and Abraham-Hicks teachings, and I felt it inside of me that my husband wanted me to have fun and to live my life to the fullest in every single way. It was that same month. It was after that I flew to San Francisco not with her. We met in San Francisco. And then when I came home, I flew out of San Jose. So I had to get myself from San Francisco to San Jose, which was hilarious because I took a taxi cab of all things. And I don't know, we weren't even sure the cab was going to make it, but we made it. It was a nice kid. And then I get on this flight out of San Jose back to Dallas, and everything was cool. The pilot came on. There was like hardly anyone on the plane. I think there were about 4 people in first class, and I think there were maybe 3 or 4 of us back in coach. And I went to, the pilot said, it's going to be a smooth flight all the way into Dallas, yada, yada, yada. Okay, great. So about halfway through the flight, I had to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom. I was right behind the first class cabin. I think I may have gone to the first class bathroom. But anyways, I'm sitting there on the toilet, and the airplane it just kind of did a little flip. I was laughing about it because I felt like my husband took that plane and made it dip. And it was quite hilarious. And at the time, I was wearing this stone that I had gotten at a little a holistic shop that like some Indian healer had given me. He told me, I think he said to wear it in your left bra cup or something. And so I did it. And so when I came out of the bathroom, they were clapping for me because of course it was hilariously funny, and I thought it was hilariously funny. But so I get home. By this time, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, Texas time. I get home, I get to my car, go home, and I get home and I'm undressing. Well, lo and behold, that stone somehow, when the plane did its dip, when it kind of did that little, 90-degree turn on its side, that somehow that stone, that little rock, it wasn't very big, no bigger than my thumb, and it fell from my left bra cup into my right boot. I had on short boots. And I was like, how does this stuff even happen? But again, I laughed, and it brought me, great comfort.
Joy. Yeah, exactly. Well, Jeff, I always say, you know, people look where they used to be, but they're not there. They're not sitting in that chair. But guess
Right.
what? There's that sun, that's that sunshine that's on your shoulder. That's who they are, that energy. And I mean, I go outside and I just love it. I just look at it and I'm in it and nature and everything. And you just appreciate it and get more, you know. I
Exactly.
just, yeah, I just
I'm
wish they,
telling
no.
you, wish, go ahead.
I just wish they could know what we know and make that pain go away, you know, when they lose that child, you know, how
Right.
to move on. How do you move past that? And I gotta just say one day at a time, but you know, when the better your day, I think the better I'm showing my respect and honoring her, the better I
Yes.
can be myself. And that's
Yes.
just what I
Yes.
want. Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. I love
Yes.
that. I love that so much, Deb. That is just such a beautiful story, and what a beautiful connection you have with Jen.
Uh,
And it's just gonna get better and better and better.
She has two sisters, two beautiful sisters, but they just don't understand, you know, and I just want it so badly for them.
Right.
Someday, I hope, you know, I just hope. I know
Right.
that's what she wants.
And maybe, you know, we're all on it's an individual journey for everyone. And maybe
Right.
someday, you know, something, because you know that Jen is right there with them as well. Um,
Yes.
it doesn't matter, you know, it's like I have a dear friend in Florida who also at the time we both lived in Colorado, and she had two children, two adult children, and her um, adult daughter made her transition back in 2014 when she was around 30 years old. And unfortunately, my friend doesn't, you know, she doesn't follow the spiritual teaching. She's been around me enough to know, but she also does believe in these, you know, these connections and get signed. She got signed from her daughter, and we had gone on a little adventure one day. She called me up and said, "Hey, pick a letter of the alphabet." And so I picked a letter of the alphabet, and we drove about an hour north of Denver to this little tiny town, and that was our little adventure. and we stopped going back we stopped to go in this little big shop. And when we parked, and this was on Halloween in 2016. Yeah, I think it was 2016, Halloween of 2016. So her daughter had made her transition a couple of years before. And we got out of the car. And, you know, at that time in Colorado, it's cold by October. And for some reason, we were having a freakishly warm day. And there was this huge monarch butterfly that was flying around both of us. And we both looked at each other, and she knew, and we are reminded of that frequently. And her son also made his transition back in November. He had health issues, so both of her children have made their transition, and you know, she's doing the best she can with her belief systems. But her son, because she had left me a voicemail, and I knew about her son's health, and so she had left me a voicemail saying, well, she didn't leave a message, but she just wanted me to call her. But I already knew I had to go to the store, and I got in my car. And a lot of times that's when I'll get messages. But I felt her son's presence come to me very strongly. And I heard that whisper because I knew him. And he came to me very strongly and said, "Tell my mother that I love her and that there was nothing that she could have done."
Right.
So, you know, I just got like, I call it the feels because I get goosebumps all over my body.
Yeah. I say it's the universe's way of communicating with us.
Yeah.
The goosebumps and the shivers and
But even though she doesn't share the same spiritual beliefs that I do, she understands, and it brought her great comfort when I did talk to her a few hours later.
Right. Yeah. 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 And you can't, you want to help them, but if they don't understand, then they can't be helped, you know. And
well, they have to be open, and
right.
I don't know what her path is. You know, she may go through this whole life experience,
Yeah.
and maybe that's what her life path is. I don't know, but you know, she knows that I am here for her always, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know, and I know through meditation and just I'm just trying to think what it is I need to say, and I don't know what it is. I'm just blessed. I just got to say, the more you appreciate, the more you get, you know.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
that's how I work it. Yeah.
I'm just so happy to, you know, to meet you and to know that you found these teachings and that they were there for you during this time. And, you know, because things are going to come up in life. You know, we're just because, you know, you're a spiritual person or a religious person doesn't mean that you're not going to get life happen. You know, things come up,
right.
but we're better prepared because
well, it's how you react, right?
Yeah, we have the stable footing.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I'm sure, because I can see it coming. You know ahead of time. You can you can see where something might be going negative. I think I'll go this way instead, and you can see it now. You know, where before you were kind of in a puzzle, like why did that happen? But now you have a more understanding, like, well, that happened because that happened, and you know everything's connected. And yeah, it's amazing.
It's pointless to look at what happened. The best thing you can do is start where you're at right now, this very moment.
Yeah.
And, you know, find a way to feel yourself into a better feeling place.
Yes.
And that's why the teachings of Abraham-Hicks and many other teachers are, you know, it's all the same message. It's just different people delivering a little different version.
I just think Abraham-Hicks did such a wonderful job of simplifying it, because I go on these other sites sometimes and I'm like, they're making it too complicated, you know, and it just seems like they're putting a bunch of stuff where it doesn't belong. And I'm like, why not go this way? It's, you know, and but what do I know? but it's easier.
No, that's what I love about their teachings is the simplicity of them. But I gotta say though, Deb, when I first found their teaching, you know, when I first read Ask and It Is Given back in 2006, vibrationally, I understood it, and it made so much sense to me, and it resonated deeply. But it took me a minute for my physical human self to kind of integrate those teachings into my brain, if that makes any sense.
You have to rewire your brain, because what we've been taught, really, you know, hey, how about we look at it this way? Yeah, definitely.
I knew hands down that, you know, that information was meant to find me. It's funny when you mentioned about going to the other sites, because I remember years ago, because Abraham has talked about the Seth material, and Jane Roberts.
Yeah, I started reading the book. Yeah,
which is also, but way back then, I think I went and I found a video of Jane Roberts channeling Seth, and I couldn't. It was more than I could handle, so I kind of had to put it down. But it's funny, you know, on this journey I'm on now, it all makes perfect sense, and now I can understand it and integrate it into my beliefs and what feels right for me now. So it's a journey, and it's a process, and but it was a solo journey for me too, because way back, you know, I had one or two friends that were spiritual friends, but you know, they couldn't hang out and talk to me about this stuff all the time.
No. I'm sorry.
No, I would have loved that.
Yeah. What I noticed when I was living in the hotel for a month, I had to learn to love myself.
Yes.
I was not loving myself at all. And I was with someone for a month before that. I'm like, oh, heck no, you know, and I'm like, and And I did, though. In that time frame, I was able to love myself. And then I went back and had a stab of life again. And then I had people enter my life that are great. You know, they uplift me and they're there for me. And it's my best friend lives 2 doors over. How good is that?
That's amazing. I love that, Deb.
Well, Jen's burial, they didn't call it the gathering after the burial. We called it the celebration of her life.
I love that.
We were all there celebrating her life. My daughters did a beautiful job with pictures and videos, and who comes walking through that door but my best friend from 25 years ago.
Wow.
And we connected, and we've never parted because I bought this condo. She bought the condo 4 doors over. She got a camper. I got a camper. Now we're neighbors. She's in my life again for a reason. We knew each other since we were 5 years old, all the way through high school. And then we went separate ways, and then she was there, and I'll never forget it. You know, she was there for me.
Right. And that's beautiful that you've rekindled your connection. But again, relationships are eternal, whether the people are physically present in our life or not. So it doesn't, you know, they can still be physically on, you know, the planet, and they may not be in your immediate vicinity, but they are still around.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Love it all.
So, wow. Well, you know, is there anything else you want to share? Tell me a little bit about, you had mentioned that you are in the process of writing a book.
Oh, dear. Well, that started about 5 years ago, about the time I started reading The Secret. But I think what inspired me was Abraham-Hicks with the law of attraction. That's what really resonated with me. And so I started off there and just just living my best life, live in joy, following the teachings, and now sharing other people that same view or asking them to look at it this way. And I got to tell you, people are waking up. They really are. Since 5 years ago, oh my gosh, they're understanding more now. You know, they want to learn something better. There's got to be a better way out there. Everybody's so hateful and in a rush, and, you know, they all want something better. We have what's better. We know what's better. Meditate, you know, I wish. But yeah, you know, I'm grateful for my whole life, and I'm grateful for everything that's happened in my life, because it wouldn't have put me where I am right now had it not happened.
I love that.
Yeah. Amen.
That is so beautiful, Deb. Thank you so much. It's been an honor and a privilege to connect with you, and we will definitely do this again.
I'd love to. Great meeting you. Thank you so much. I'm glad for the time, and I'm glad to share, really.
Thank you for sharing your beautiful story about Jenn and connecting, and just, you know, shine a light. We're shining a light.
Yes. Oh, God.
And upliftment, and it's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, thank you. Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Hey, take care. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Bye.